I'm Abdulkarim. I'm here with
Michael, nice to
Michael.
meet
Okay,
you.
Michael. Oh, so what do you do?
I'm a wallet developer in the Varus community.
Hmm?
And so basically, Varus is a fully decentralized, infinitely scalable network of multiple blockchains that presents a completely new application model that contrasts the, say, traditional EVM or Ethereum based systems. Right?
Okay.
So, as an application developer nowadays, if you want to write an application on blockchain, you're going to have to start from scratch. You're going to have to re-implement your security protocol from scratch. You're going to have to implement any interoperability from scratch,
Yep.
and you're going to be confined into one blockchain,
Hmm.
typically Ethereum, Solana. It doesn't matter. It's just not a model that can really scale to the future of blockchain applications. Right?
Hmm.
On Varus, the way that it works is that you write your app in any language that you want, and you communicate with the blockchain or a series of blockchains through the RPC API, which gives you access to predefined protocol primitives that are standard, interoperable by default, scalable by default, and accessible to every miner and staker on the entire blockchain.
So yeah, sounds very interesting and complex, by the way. So can you break it down a little bit? How does it work? How does it connect and communicate to the RPC without a smart contract?
Yeah. So essentially, you have these building blocks that the chain provides to you, and those building blocks can do anything from use liquidity pools, create liquidity pools, launch fully independent but still interconnected blockchains, launch new currencies, deal with data storage for your application, create new user identities, and these are sort of defined by the protocol. And you, as an app developer, are using them to do anything you needed to do on chain, and you're leaving the protocol or the security of the blockchain and the decentralization of the blockchain to the protocol, while you yourself write your application. You don't need to think about making sure that your application isn't subject to, say, bugs or phishing attacks or low-level issues with protocol-defined things. And on Ethereum, if you write an ERC20 token or any other NFT or any sort of smart contract, you need to make sure yourself that you didn't mess up the actual functions that the users are dealing with. You need to make sure that you don't have a wallet draining bug in your own application. On Varus, you let the protocol handle security. You have more time to focus on your own app, on what you want to do, and making the experience for your users as best as possible.
Okay, so is Verus funded by VC? Are you guys raising funds? Like, how do you guys operate generally? Like, in terms of like, do you guys have like, who are your engineers? Like, how did they get employed? How are they contributing to the ecosystem and all that? How is that structure like?
Great question. So basically, Varus is fully community run, fully fair launch. There was no pre-mine, no ICO, no VCs that were funding from the beginning.
Okay.
Every single coin on the network is fairly mined and or staked by the network validators. Anyone can be a network validator. If you want, you can spin up a Varus node and mine yourself or stake with any amount of funds. There's no limit to that. So there's no barrier to entry. It's truly decentralized. And the developers of Varus are all volunteers or people that mine their own Varus and want to contribute. Everything's fully open source. And so we took that original sort of Bitcoin ethos and we applied it to a network that was built from the ground up to scale infinitely and handle the needs of modern blockchain applications, things like DeFi, things like identity management, things like data storage. And so today at Consensus, we have our community here. It's a community of thousands of people across the world, and everyone sort of came together and funded our presence at Consensus through donations. But there is no sort of controlling company of Varus. There's no VCs that fund everything. It's fully decentralized, fully open community.
So are you guys what will I say that who is the Satoshi Nakamoto of Verus itself? Do you know
So
that?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Good
yeah.
question. Also,
Okay.
our lead developer is right over there.
Okay.
His name is Michael Tatangi. He's actually my father.
Is your
So
father?
yeah, yeah. So I started it with
Hmm.
him and a few
Okay.
other developers like in 2018. It was just a very small group of people initially. We posted on Bitcoin Talk with a vision paper. No promises, but just a vision paper that defined what we were trying to do with this ecosystem.
Okay.
And we invited anyone across the world to come and mine or stake our network. And we posted it before the network went live, and the network went live 20 minutes later. Immediately, we had hundreds of nodes across the world mining. I have personally no idea who the biggest holder is. There is no controlling entity. We didn't take a cut for ourselves. We sort of just fairly mined and staked. In fact, we donated most of the funds we mined and staked to fund things like development and have other people come into the community. But yeah, there's in terms of your question, I think he would be considered the Satoshi, but it was really a small group of us that wanted to work on things like the wallets, the protocol itself, and we had this sort of grand vision we wanted to accomplish.
Okay, so are you going to like um the staking partner? You said that you mine stake. So how does it really work? Like the mining, like what activities do you want it to do, like to mine Veros, and is there like a current market price for it or something? Or how does it really work? That side, just kind of like
Yeah.
break down the side. Yeah,
So regarding the market price,
yeah.
Varus has a fully decentralized bridge to Ethereum, and we are on some exchanges, but most of the volume, in fact, $500 million of volume in this past year has been fully on chain through the decentralized protocol. And then with regards to your mining question, we have our own mining algorithm that we developed ourselves called Varus Hash. And at a technical level, that essentially treats your laptop CPU
Mm,
as an ASIC or as an FPGA. So it's
mm,
incredibly efficient to mine on, say, your regular laptop or even small mobile devices that are incredibly energy efficient. And so it's really easy. You don't need to buy a dedicated mining device. You don't need to host, AWS servers to run your infrastructure. You just take uh, hardware that's available to you, and you can start making money by mining Varus. On the staking side, because Varus is 50% validated by proof of work and 50% by proof of stake,
mm,
you can stake with any amount of Varus, however small, and you don't have to lock your funds. There's no slashing, so you don't have to put them at risk of being lost. We solved the double stake problem by having it so that if someone can prove that you've double staked, they can take your mining reward, but your actual funds themselves aren't lost from your wallet.
mm.
And this algorithm, together with the proof of work and the proof of stake, means that in order to launch a successful 51% attack, someone will need more than 50% of the entire coin supply of the network and more than 51% of the mining supply. So in effect, 51% hash attacks are solved by this system.
Interesting, interesting, interesting. I think there are a lot of questions that anyone watching now want to ask. A lot of questions, but I think I would want to like round off with this. So for Veros now, um, what would you say it is? What would you say? It's the long term vision of Veros. Bitcoin has a long term vision.
Yeah.
So what would you say like it is long term vision for Veros itself?
Okay. Yeah. Good question. So we see Verus as a platform for decentralized applications.
Okay.
And we see the current EVM-based models as kind of a failure to the concept of really making dApps ubiquitous as a sort of application paradigm, right? Um, they're too constrained. We don't see putting your application into a fixed blockchain and having these scaling issues as really viable as a model that scales to the whole world.
Yeah.
So the long-term vision for Varus is being the public infrastructure that the entire dApp ecosystem, the entire app world is built on. And we see it as going beyond what we consider, say, blockchain apps today, things like
Mm,
liquidity pools or things that are specific to people in the blockchain space. We want people to come from, outside the blockchain space, and there already are a number of companies building their apps on Varus, and start using Varus to build their apps for people that maybe they're not interested in using blockchain. They just want to see the benefits of blockchain. They want to see decentralization. They want to see cheaper costs because the apps aren't subject to rent seeking. They want to run their business without being beholden to Amazon or Google that's able to have access to all their user data and shut them down at any time. It's not about being blockchain for blockchain. It's about bringing the benefits of blockchain to apps in what was kind of promised with the original Web3 model, but never actually delivered on.
mm. That's great. That's great. So and again, something brings me back to like you said the consensus was community funded.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like is there like a revenue generating model for like various like not I'm not talking about like someone in particular like for various ecosystem in general like oh is there like sequential reward or something like that in terms of like gas fees like is it going to like is there like a treasury for it how is like the whole revenue of the various ecosystem at large how was it like and how is it like pictured like
Yeah, so all fees on the network either go to on-chain liquidity providers, which are just people that hold the funds that liquidity pools are
Generating.
generating,
Yeah.
or miners and stakers. So
Mm.
there's no collection of fees or anything in sort of a centralized source. Everything is in this decentralized ecosystem.
Mm.
And what that means is that any groups, any funds, any people in the community that fund development or
Yeah.
put bounties towards development
Yeah.
are fully funded through funds that were fairly obtained and mined and staked. They don't have any sort of unfair advantage.
Mm.
That being said, there is, one of these community members is called the Veriscoin Foundation. There was no, ICO that would give money to them. They have no position, no dev fees go to them or anything. They're exactly the same as any other member in the community, but
Mm.
they hold a collection of funds that were fairly mined and staked that they use to allocate to development resources and other similar things. For Consensus specifically, though, it's been funded through community donations. So there was a donation address posted on the Varus Discord, which is at varus.io/discord,
Mm.
and anyone in the community that wanted to see Varus at Consensus could donate to that. And the donation target, we have a very active, very vibrant community. The donation target was met in 4 days, and so then we ended up coming here, and now we have a nice presence here. And this is why I'm having this conversation with you right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I mean, if anyone wants to join like the various, where can they find you? And you yourself, like, where can they like find this? Like, if they have more questions and all, like, what's your social handle? What's like the various social handle and all that.
Perfect. Yeah. So Varus, the entire community gathers on the Discord. That's at varus.io/discord. That'll show you the invite link.
Just Discord.
Mainly Discord, the community itself. I'm Michael Toot Jr. on there. So
Okay.
MICHAELTOUTJR.
Hmm.
There's a website at varus.io. There's other links there. I mean, there's an X account. There's a lot of community organized spaces on Telegram, even in different languages than English.
Mm.
But I would say the biggest presence we have is on the Varus Discord. If you want to be part of the community, join the community, build apps. That's where you can get help from other developers, other community members, or other companies building on Varus. So,
Thank you so much for your time, man. I
yeah,
appreciate
you
it.
too.